guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Today's video is going to be about niacinamide. It is one of those ingredients that I have been completely obsessed with lately for good reason. I feel like most people think that niacinamide is just good at helping reduce the size of your pores, but there's actually so many benefits to using niacinamide. It pretty much addresses every skincare concern that we could possibly have. Fine lines, wrinkles, discoloration, oily skin, dry skin, believe it or not. I know those are polar opposites, but niacinamide helps with both. It also helps people who suffer from acne and rosacea. So it's just one of those ingredients that I think that everybody should incorporate into their skincare routine without a doubt, and it's pretty inexpensive. So I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right in. I'm gonna tell you all the ways that our skin stands to benefit from using niacinamide, and then I'm gonna tell you what my favorite niacinamide products are, and then we will say goodbye. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so one of the best things about niacinamide is that it's very well tolerated by most skin types. Sensitive skin types, problematic skin types. If you have acne or rosacea or eczema, it's supposed to be good for those skin types. And the reason it's good for problematic skin is because it really helps to improve the condition of your skin's barrier. And one of the ways that it does that is niacinamide helps with the production of ceramides. And ceramides are found in the lipid layer, and the lipid layer is what helps, it's kind of the cement that keeps our cells together. And so when you have more ceramide production, you're going to have a stronger skin barrier. So niacinamides basically boost barrier function by increasing ceramide production. So if you have a stronger lipid layer and you have a healthier barrier, your skin is just going to function better. It's going to retain moisture better. It's going to look more plump. There's going to be a lot less transepidermal water loss. So all these things together are just going to help keep your skin moist and plump and looking healthy. Niacinamide is actually touted to be a superior hydrator. As a matter of fact, there was an article that I read, and I'm gonna go ahead and put that in my description box, and it basically compared niacinamide and the efficacy as far as like reducing transepidermal water loss, and they compared it to Vaseline. Vaseline is basically kind of the gold standard of occlusive agents. So that was really telling to me about how effective niacinamide is for keeping your skin just really nice and moist and hydrated. Another thing that niacinamide does is it helps with any kind of age spots or discoloration. And the way that it does it is it suppresses melanin from just reaching the surface of the skin. It just interferes with that process. But it also protects your skin from further UV damage. I think there was another article that I read, and if I find it, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in my description box, where they compared niacinamide to hydroquinone. And hydroquinone, once again, is your gold standard for skin lightening and fading, discoloration and dark spots. So for niacinamide to be compared to hydroquinone, again, that's really telling, and it just kind of supports the fact that niacinamide is good for, age spots and discoloration. So another thing that niacinamide does is it helps with oil production. So that is really good news for anybody who suffers from acne. Now, it's kind of ironic that it helps with dry skin issues, but it also helps to control oil production, which is great news because for people who suffer from acne, you do want to control the oil, but you also want to keep your skin hydrating. And I feel like sometimes if you suffer from acne and you're using prescription medication and stuff, most prescription medication will kind of dry out your skin. So it will help with the acne, but then you're left with really dry skin. There was another article that I read that compared niacinamide to a prescription strength acne medication, and I'm probably gonna pronounce this wrong, but I wanna say it's called Clyndamycin. I will put an annotation right here to spell the word for you, and I'm gonna go ahead and put that article in my description box. But the article is really interesting, and I really encourage you to take a look at it, especially if you suffer from acne, because like I said, it compared niacinamide to Clyndamycin, that's what it's called. And the niacinamide performed just as well, if not better, than the prescription strength medication that was specifically formulated to address acne. So that's really interesting. So far, it's good for people with sensitive skin types. It helps with dry skin, it helps with discoloration, and it also helps with acne. And another reason that it helps with acne is because it has anti-inflammatory properties. So it's really calming and soothing for your skin too. Now, in my personal experience with niacinamide, it has really helped to control oil production on my eyelids. I have oily eyelids, and I was having a lot of issues with eyeshadow application because I don't like to use a primer because primers always make my eyelids look 10 or 20 years older, and I just hate that. So I was looking for some sort of alternative, and I started putting niacinamide on my eyelids to act as a primer, and it has worked beautifully. But not only is it working as a primer for me, it's also helping to improve the condition of my skin because it is increasing ceramide production, and it's helping to strengthen the lipid layer in my eyelids. So that's wonderful. Another thing that I have personally noticed about niacinamide is that sometimes, not all the time, it kind of depends on what I've been doing to my skin. Like if my skin is a little bit compromised because I might be shedding from Retin-A or, you know, using glycolic acid or something like that, then I've noticed that when I apply the niacinamide, I get almost like a flushing all over. It's almost like micro circulation. That's what I like to think of it as. But I've actually looked it up and there's no harm in it whatsoever. It's just a reaction that's taken place and it usually subsides within 5 or 10 minutes. But I don't mind it because it's an all over pinkness. And I actually think it looks really pretty and kind of rosy and stuff. Going along with that same kind of school of thought, my son has eczema and he was flared up not too long ago, and at the same time my daughter had just kind of scales on the back of her hand, not scales, but just really, really dry skin because she sometimes overwashes her hands. So I decided that I was gonna put the niacinamide on my son, on his eczema, and my daughter wanted me to put, I think it was, what did she want me to put on there? I think she wanted me to put shea butter on her hands. And so that's what we did. Well, my son's eczema ended up clearing up so much faster than my daughter's backs of her hands. But the next time my son had an eczema flare up, I decided to put the niacinamide on again, and his reaction was quite a bit different. But I think it was because this time, I think he had scratched it so much that he might have broken the skin surface, and maybe the niacinamide gave him that stinging feeling. And sometimes my son can overreact to certain things. He's autistic, and sometimes he doesn't know how to describe, you know, what he's feeling, so he just screams or something. And so that's what he did. And I was so confused because I was like, oh my gosh, you know, the first time we put it on 2 nights in a row, it was cleared by the 3rd night. I was pretty shocked by that. But then this time, his reaction was completely different and he screamed when I put it on him. So of course I wiped it right off and put something else on it. So basically I feel like, you know, if your skin's compromised at all, obviously you shouldn't be putting probably anything on your skin aside from maybe aloe vera or coconut oil or something like that. So, you know, lesson learned. Another thing that I did want to mention about niacinamide is that it's very stable. So it can basically be used day or night without losing, you know, its effectiveness. And niacinamide is also one of the most versatile ingredients out there, meaning that it can basically be combined with almost any other skincare ingredient without compromising the effectiveness of the other ingredient. So I've got 3 favorite niacinamide products. The first one is made by a company called Luminositie Skincare, and it just says Niacinamide B3 Cream Age Defy Formula. And it looks like this. And all of these products, one thing that I really do love about them is that they're all very inexpensive. I bought them all on Amazon. I did all the research on the ingredients, so I'm very comfortable with putting any of these on my skin. They're really high quality for a very inexpensive price, which is something that I love to find. There's a lot of hydrating ingredients in here, and then of course there's niacinamide. So this is one that I just really, really love, and I'm using it all the time. It's very lightweight, which I love. It's very moisturizing, which I love. And it's got this neat delivery system. So you just push down and the product comes out the top. So I absolutely love it. Now the other one that I love is made by a company called Eva Naturals. And it says, restore youthful skin, niacinamide vitamin B3. So it says, improves skin's elasticity, revives skin tone and texture, helps erase discoloration. Now this one, just like the other one, is very, very lightweight. It's almost like a cream serum, and it comes in a pump form. Oh, whoops, I'm almost out, so I'm surprised I even got that much out. Here we go. And it just, you know, like I said, it's kind of a cream serum, so it's very, very lightweight. And I've noticed that the older I get, I'm really reaching for products that are a lot more lightweight, but give me the hydration that I need. And these two both do. Okay, so the last product that I'm going to tell you about is from The Ordinary. And this might be the only product that you need because this is a 10% niacinamide concentration. It also has 1% zinc. This is my 3rd bottle. This one's almost empty, and then I've got one in my empties over there that I'm just waiting to tell you about. Now the reason that I love this one from The Ordinary is, first of all, it's very inexpensive. Second of all, I can just add this to any of my other skincare. I can add it to my eye creams, I can add it to my DIYs, I can add it to my body lotions, and it's so inexpensive. Like I said, I think I only paid maybe $6 for it. Sometimes what I will do is I will add this to this, or I will add this to this, because I really like those two, because they're very, very hydrating. I actually feel like this works best when it is added to other moisturizers. Anytime that I've ever used it alone, I feel like it ends up pilling. Not on my eyelids for whatever reason, but everywhere else on my face. If I don't mix it with other products, it pills underneath my makeup, and I don't like that. When I mix it with something else, there's no pilling that goes on. And if you don't want to purchase any one of those three, you can always go to your local grocery store and pick up some CeraVe PM. That is a really good one. I love that one, and I do notice, not every time, but occasionally I will get that flushness on my skin whenever I use the CeraVe also. Okay, so that concludes this video. I hope you found some of the information in this video to be useful in some way. I really, really appreciate you watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I will meet you back here next week.